The New Era, Chapter 13. Humanity's Next Bold Step. The quantum resonance detector chimed for the third time that morning, and Dr. Naomi Patel barely glanced at it. After 6 months aboard the Deep Space Research Station Helios, false positives had become routine. The vast emptiness between stars had a way of playing tricks on their instruments, creating phantom signals that disappeared as quickly as they emerged. But this time, the chime didn't stop. Naomi's fingers froze above her console as the detector's tone shifted from its usual brief ping to a sustained hum. The holographic display above her workstation bloomed with cascading patterns of light, forming intricate geometries she'd never seen before. "Station log, mark time," she said, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "Detecting unusual quantum signature at coordinates 247 Mark 38. Signal strength increasing." The research station's AI responded with its characteristic calm. "Time marked. Initiating deep scan protocols." Through the observation dome's reinforced windows, Naomi could see nothing but the familiar tapestry of stars against the infinite black. Yet the quantum detector insisted something was out there, something that defied the known laws of physics. "Dr. Winston to the communications lab," she called over the station's comm system. As the station's theoretical physicist, Thomas Winston had spent years predicting the possibility of quantum-based communications from advanced civilizations. Now it seemed his theories might finally face their ultimate test. The lab doors whispered open behind her. "This better not be another cosmic ray burst," Thomas grumbled, his British accent thickened by lack of sleep. "I was in the middle of." He stopped short, seeing the complex patterns dancing above Naomi's workstation. "Tell me that's not what I think it is," he whispered. "If you think it's an artificially generated quantum signature using patterns that shouldn't be possible according to our current understanding of physics, then I can't tell you that," Naomi replied, unable to keep a slight smile from her face. Thomas rushed to his own console, fingers flying across the haptic interface. "The pattern recognition algorithms are going crazy. This isn't random noise, Naomi. This is language." The next 12 hours passed in a blur of activity. The station's small crew of 8 gathered in the communications lab, watching as Thomas and Naomi worked to decode the impossible signal. Station Commander Rafael Ortiz had already transmitted their preliminary findings to Earth, but at this distance, it would be days before they received a response. "There," Naomi said, highlighting a recurring sequence in the quantum signature. "This pattern repeats exactly every 73.2 seconds. It's too precise to be natural." Thomas nodded, his earlier skepticism forgotten in the excitement of discovery. "The mathematical structure is incredible. Whoever sent this understood that mathematics would be our first common language." The signal contained layers of information, each built upon the last like the world's most complex primer. First came basic mathematical concepts: prime numbers, geometric principles, the fundamental constants of the universe. Then, gradually, the message began to incorporate more complex ideas. "They're teaching us how to talk to them," Naomi realized as the 20th hour of analysis began. Her eyes burned from fatigue, but she couldn't bear to look away from the displays. "This isn't just a greeting. It's an invitation." Commander Ortiz placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "You should rest, Doctor. We've got other analysts rotating in, and you've been at this since." A new pattern erupted across the quantum detector's display, different from anything they'd seen before. The holographic representation shifted, coalescing into a 3-dimensional image that hung in the center of the lab. It showed a star system, rendered in exquisite detail. A yellow dwarf star, not unlike Earth's sun, orbited by 7 planets. One of them pulsed with a subtle light, and coordinates began streaming alongside it. "They're showing us where they are," Thomas breathed. "And unless I'm mistaken, that star system is within our reach. It would take our fastest ships about 14 months to get there." Naomi felt a shiver run down her spine. Until now, humanity had been alone in the cosmos, shouting questions into the void and hearing only echoes in return. But in this moment, everything changed. Someone had answered, and they were inviting humanity to take its next step into the universe. Commander Ortiz was already moving toward the command center, his voice tight with controlled excitement. "I'm calling an emergency conference with Earth Command. They need to know we're no longer alone out here." As the others followed him, Naomi remained at her station, watching the alien star system rotate slowly in the air before her. In its light, she could see humanity's future beginning to take shape, full of both promise and peril. The quantum resonance detector chimed again, and new patterns began to form. Captain Marcus Rivera stood at the helm of the interstellar vessel Prometheus, watching as the alien star system finally came into view. After 14 months of faster-than-light travel, they had arrived at the coordinates provided in the quantum message. His crew of 35 represented Earth's finest, scientists, diplomats, and specialists chosen from every corner of the globe. Final deceleration sequence complete, announced Lieutenant Priya Sharma from the navigation station. We're entering the system's outer boundary. Marcus nodded, his dark eyes fixed on the main viewport. Status of the quantum beacon. Signal is strong and steady, reported Dr. Benjamin Cole, one of the quantum communication specialists trained by Dr. Patel back on Earth. They know we're here. The yellow star grew larger in their view, its light illuminating the bridge in warm hues. The fourth planet, their destination, hung like a blue-green jewel against the backdrop of space. As they approached, they could see structures in orbit, massive geometric shapes that defied conventional engineering. Multiple objects approaching from the planet's orbital stations, Lieutenant Sharma announced, her voice professional but tense. 5 vessels, each approximately twice our size. Marcus straightened his uniform. This was the moment humanity had been preparing for since receiving the first message. Open all frequencies, standard greeting package ready. Before they could transmit, a familiar quantum signature washed over their sensors. The bridge's holographic display activated, and a figure materialized in the center of the command deck. The alien stood nearly 7 feet tall, its form suggesting both strength and grace. Its body seemed to be composed of crystalline structures that shifted and flowed like liquid metal, catching and refracting light in mesmerizing patterns. 4 arms emerged from its torso, and its head was crowned with sensory organs that pulse with bioluminescent light. Greetings, travelers. It spoke, its words translated through the quantum field itself. I am Shreth, first speaker of the Luminary Collective. We welcome humanity to the greater community of conscious beings. Marcus stepped forward, following the carefully choreographed protocols developed by Earth's diplomatic corps. First speaker Shreth, I am Captain Marcus Rivera of the Earth vessel Prometheus. We come in peace and friendship, seeking to learn and share knowledge. Shreth's crystalline form shimmered with what seemed to be approval. Your journey here shows great courage and determination. Few species master quantum navigation so quickly after receiving first contact. The collective has watched your progress with great interest. You've been watching us? Marcus asked, careful to keep his tone neutral. Since your species first began broadcasting electromagnetic signals into space, Shreth confirmed. We needed to understand if humanity was ready for inclusion in the greater galactic community. Your response to our quantum message proved promising. As they spoke, the alien vessels took up escort positions around the Prometheus. Their designs were organic, almost alive, with surfaces that rippled and adjusted in response to spatial conditions. We have prepared a delegation to receive you, Shreth continued. There is much to discuss, including matters of great urgency that concern both our peoples. Dr. Cole's console suddenly lit up with warnings. Captain, I'm detecting massive quantum fluctuations from the planet's surface. Energy signatures unlike anything in our database. Shreth's form flickered slightly. What you detect is evidence of why we chose to contact your species now. A crisis approaches that threatens all conscious life in this sector of space. We believe humanity's unique perspectives may be key to finding a solution. Marcus exchanged glances with his senior staff. This wasn't part of their expected first contact scenarios. They had come prepared for cultural exchange and scientific collaboration, not an imminent crisis. Permission to dock with your orbital facility granted, Shreth announced, gesturing with one of its upper limbs. A stream of technical data began flowing to their navigation systems. We will prepare for immediate consultation with your delegation. As the Prometheus maneuvered toward the massive orbital structure, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that humanity's first steps into the galactic community would be more challenging than anyone had anticipated. The weight of responsibility settled heavily on his shoulders. His actions here wouldn't just affect Earth, but potentially all conscious life in this part of space. Begin docking procedures, he ordered, watching as the alien structure grew larger in their view. and send a quantum burst to Earth command. They need to know we've made contact, and that the situation is more complex than we imagined. The orbital station's docking arms extended toward them like welcoming hands, their crystalline surfaces pulsing with internal light. As the Prometheus aligned with the alien technology, Marcus realized that the true test of humanity's readiness was about to begin. As the Prometheus maneuvered toward the massive orbital structure, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that humanity's first steps into the galactic community would be more challenging than anyone had anticipated. The weight of responsibility settled heavily on his shoulders. His actions here wouldn't just affect Earth, but potentially all conscious life in this part of space. "Begin docking procedures," he ordered, watching as the alien structure grew larger in their view, "and send a quantum burst to Earth command. They need to know we've made contact, and that the situation is more complex than we imagined." The orbital station's docking arms extended toward them like welcoming hands, their crystalline surfaces pulsing with internal light. As the Prometheus aligned with the alien technology, Marcus realized that the true test of humanity's readiness was about to begin. Security Chief Akiko Tanaka moved silently through the crystalline corridors of the luminary orbital station, her trained eyes constantly scanning for anomalies. After 3 weeks of diplomatic exchanges, something felt wrong. The station's quantum architecture should have been humming with its usual melodic resonance, but instead, certain sections had fallen eerily quiet. Her neural implant pinged softly, indicating a message from her counterpart in the luminary security force. "Honored Tanaka, we detect unauthorized access in Sector 7. Your presence is requested." "Acknowledged, Guardian Vrax," she subvocalized. N wrote. The luminary's transparent walls shifted to guide her path, their crystalline structure rearranging itself like living glass. As she approached Sector 7, she noticed subtle distortions in the quantum field, distortions that shouldn't have been possible given the station's security protocols. Guardian Vrax waited at the sector entrance, its metallic exoskeleton gleaming under the station's bioluminescent lighting. Unlike first speaker Zareth's crystalline form, Vrax belonged to a different species within the collective, one specialized in security and defense. "The breach originated 17 minutes ago," Vrax reported, its translator converting complex harmonic tones into human speech. "The intruder accessed restricted data regarding the quantum anomaly." Akiko's expression remained neutral, but her mind raced. The quantum anomaly, a growing disturbance in space-time that threatened both their civilizations, was the collective's most closely guarded secret. Only a handful of humans had been briefed on its full implications. "Show me the access point," she requested. Vrax led her to a data terminal, where the crystalline structure appeared slightly discolored. Akiko pulled out her quantum scanner, a hybrid of human and luminary technology. The readings made her blood run cold. "These access codes," she said carefully. "They're human in origin." Vrax's exoskeleton shifted in what she had learned was an expression of concern. "We feared as much. The quantum signatures match those of your species' encryption protocols." "But that's impossible," Akiko countered. "Only Captain Rivera and 3 senior scientists have clearance for this level of data access, and they're all in diplomatic sessions with the Collective Council." A sudden movement caught her eye, a shimmer in the crystalline wall that shouldn't have been there. Without hesitation, she launched herself toward it, her augmented reflexes carrying her faster than normal human speed. The shimmer solidified into a figure trying to phase through the station's quantum architecture. Akiko's hand shot out, grabbing what felt like fabric, and she pulled hard. The figure's stealth field collapsed, revealing the human in an advanced infiltration suit. "Security breach in Sector 7. Vrax broadcasted. All units converge." The infiltrator struck out with augmented strength, but Akiko was ready. She redirected the force, using the station's lower gravity to her advantage. They spun through the air, trading blows with enhanced speed. "Who sent you?" Akiko demanded, recognizing the infiltration suit's design. It was Earth military technology, but far more advanced than anything officially sanctioned. The infiltrator responded by activating some kind of quantum disruption device. The corridor's crystalline structure began to vibrate dangerously. Vrax moved with surprising speed, extending a containment field around the device. "The quantum core is destabilizing," Vrax announced. "This section will breach in 3 minutes." Akiko didn't hesitate. She struck precisely at the infiltrator's neural implant junction, temporarily paralyzing them. As they fell, she caught a glimpse of a familiar symbol on their suit, the logo of Terra Nova, a powerful Earth corporation that had opposed the first contact mission. Sector sealed, Vrax reported as additional security forces arrived. But the data was transmitted before we intercepted them. Akiko secured the infiltrator while her mind processed the implications. Someone on Earth had not only learned about the quantum anomaly, but had sent an operative to steal the collective's research. The question was why. The answer hit her as she reviewed the accessed files on her neural display. The quantum anomaly wasn't just a natural phenomenon. It was expanding in a controlled pattern. Someone was weaponizing it. "We need to speak with Captain Rivera immediately," she told Vrax. "The situation is worse than we thought. This isn't just about preventing a crisis anymore. We're dealing with forces that want to exploit it." As they rushed to the diplomatic chamber, Akiko couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. The shadow of betrayal had fallen across humanity's first steps into the galactic community, and the consequences could be catastrophic for both species. Engineer Jamal Hassan wiped sweat from his brow as he studied the quantum core's fluctuating patterns. The infiltration attempt had destabilized key systems throughout the luminary station, and now he worked alongside the alien scientist Kethra to prevent a cascade failure that could tear the station apart. The human device created unexpected resonance patterns, Kethra observed, her crystalline form pulsing with concerned frequencies. Her specialized sensory arrays could perceive quantum states that human instruments barely detected. It was designed to do more than steal data. "Agreed," Jamal replied, his neural interface streaming diagnostic data across his vision. "The disruption sequence is too precise. This was meant to cripple your quantum technology, or worse, hijack it." Around them, the station's quantum core chamber thrummed with barely contained energy. Massive crystalline pylons stretched from floor to ceiling, each one channeling enough power to run a small city. But now those same pylons showed signs of fracturing. "Another stress spike in Sector 12, announced the station's eye. "Containment at 70% and falling." Jamal pulled up the station's structural schematics enhanced with luminary quantum mapping. "The disruption is following the station's power distribution network. It's like a virus, but it's affecting both digital and quantum systems simultaneously." Kethra moved to a control interface, her 4 arms working in perfect synchronization across multiple planes of the quantum field. "The weapon was designed with detailed knowledge of our technology. This confirms the security chief's suspicions about internal cooperation with your Terra Nova Corporation." A warning klaxon blared as another pylon developed stress fractures. They had maybe an hour before the entire station began to break apart. "We need to think differently," Jamal said, remembering his years of emergency engineering on Earth's deep space stations. "Your quantum technology is more advanced than ours, but it's also more vulnerable to this kind of attack. What if we created a firebreak using older human technology?" Kethra's form shifted and what Jamal had learned was an expression of interest. "Elaborate." "We can't stop the quantum cascade directly, but we can redirect it." His fingers flew across his interface, modeling the concept. "If we use conventional electromagnetic fields as barriers between quantum nodes, we might be able to isolate the affected sections." "Primitive," Kethra observed, "but potentially effective. The attack sequence isn't designed to bypass such basic technology." She paused, her crystalline structure refracting light in complex patterns. "However, implementing this solution would require us to share control protocols that the collective has never revealed to other species." Jamal met her gaze steadily. "And I would need to give you access to classified human shielding technologies. I guess we both have to decide how much we trust each other." Another pylon cracked, sending shards of crystalline material scattering across the floor. The station shuddered. "Containment at 60%. The AI updated. Structural failure imminent in multiple sectors." Kethra's form pulsed with decisive energy. "Trust must begin somewhere." Initiating quantum protocol transfer. They worked with fierce intensity, human and alien technology merging in ways never before attempted. Jamal's neural interface strained to process the quantum data Kethra shared, while she adapted her crystalline systems to accommodate human electromagnetic principles. "Engineering teams report ready in all sectors," the AI announced. "Awaiting implementation command." Jamal looked at Kethra. "Together." Her crystalline form brightened in agreement. Together, they activated the hybrid system simultaneously. Electromagnetic barriers sprang to life between the station's quantum nodes, creating safe channels for the energy to dissipate. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then gradually the quantum disruption began to weaken. Where it encountered the electromagnetic barriers, it lost coherence, unable to propagate through the simpler human technology. Containment stabilizing, the AI reported. Quantum cascade reducing. Station integrity returning to normal parameters. Jamal allowed himself to breathe again, watching as the pylon's stress fractures began to seal themselves. It worked. We actually did it. Indeed, Kethra agreed, her tone carrying new warmth. Perhaps this crisis has shown us something important. Neither of our species' technologies alone could have prevented disaster. Only by combining them, by trusting each other, did we find a solution. As they began the process of stabilizing the remaining systems, Jamal couldn't help but wonder about the bigger picture. If their technologies could work together so effectively, what else might humans and the collective achieve through cooperation? But first, they had to deal with those who wanted to prevent that very cooperation, and who now had stolen quantum data that could threaten both their civilizations. From the bridge of the Prometheus, Captain Marcus Rivera watched as the combined human luminary fleet assembled in high orbit. The stolen quantum data had confirmed their worst fears. Terra Nova hadn't just been seeking weapons technology. They had already built a quantum accelerator designed to harness and weaponize the space-time anomaly. Latest intelligence report from Security Chief Tanaka. Lieutenant Sharma announced. Terra Nova's facility has been located in the Kuiper Belt. They're attempting to create a controlled quantum singularity. If they succeed, first speaker Zareth's holographic form stated, the resulting cascade could tear apart the fabric of space-time throughout this sector. Billions would die, both human and luminary. Marcus studied the tactical display, where engineer Hassan and scientist Kethra's hybrid technology now enhanced their sensor capabilities. Dozens of ships moved into formation, the sleek crystalline vessels of the luminary alongside the more utilitarian human ships that had rushed from Earth. The facility is heavily defended, Guardian Vrax reported. Conventional weapons will be insufficient to breach their quantum shields. Then we don't use conventional weapons, Marcus decided. Jamal, Kethra, could we adapt your hybrid containment system into something offensive? The engineer and alien scientist exchanged looks. Theoretically, Jamal replied, we could create a quantum electromagnetic pulse that would disrupt their shields. But we'd need to get very close. And we'd only get one chance. Kethra added. The pulse would drain our power systems completely. Marcus nodded grimly. Then we make it count. All ships, battle positions. This ends today. The fleet moved through space with precision, human and luminary crews working in harmony. As they approached the Kuiper Belt, the first signs of resistance appeared. Automated defense platforms that Terra Nova had secretly constructed over the years. Enemy platforms activating, Sharma reported. Multiple quantum torpedoes incoming. Evasive pattern Delta. Marcus ordered. Luminary vessels, take point with your superior shields. Human ships, concentrate fire on their weapon systems. The battle erupted across the void. Quantum energy clashed with electromagnetic fields as the fleet pushed forward. The hybrid technology developed by Jamal and Kethra proved invaluable, allowing their ships to predict and counter Terra Nova's advanced weapons. We're detecting massive energy buildup from their facility, Dr. Cole announced. They're initiating the quantum singularity sequence. Marcus watched as space itself began to distort around the Terra Nova station. All ships, execute final approach. Jamal, Kethra, deploy the pulse on my mark. The Prometheus shuddered as enemy fire found its mark. Warning signals blared across the bridge, but they pressed on. Around them, human and luminary ships moved in perfect coordination, providing cover for their approach. Quantum singularity at 30% formation, Cole reported. Point of no return in 45 seconds. All power to forward shields, Marcus commanded. Get us closer. Through the viewport, he could see the Terra Nova facility, a massive construction of dark metal and pulsing quantum cores. Space warped visibly around it as the singularity grew. In range, Jamal announced. Pulse charged and ready. Marcus took a deep breath. Everything. The first contact. The betrayal. The The collaboration had led to this moment. Fire. The hybrid pulse erupted from the combined fleet, a wave of quantum electromagnetic energy unlike anything ever created before. It struck Terra Nova's shields, and for a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then the shields began to fail, section by section. The pulse penetrated the facility's defenses, disrupting their quantum systems. The artificial singularity wavered and collapsed in on itself. Direct hit, Sharma called out. Their quantum cores are going critical, but in a controlled collapse. The singularity is dissipating. All ships, fall back to safe distance, Marcus ordered. They watched as the Terra Nova facility imploded, its quantum technology overloading in a spectacular but contained display of light and energy. Hours later, as recovery operations began, Marcus stood in the Prometheus's observation lounge with Shreth, watching their crews work together to secure the remains of the facility. "Your species surprised us again," Shreth said. "When we first detected your radio signals, we saw potential. But the way humans and Luminary work together today, it exceeded all our projections." "We're stronger together," Marcus replied, "despite those who would try to keep us apart." "Indeed." Shreth's crystalline form shimmered thoughtfully. "Which is why the collective has decided to extend an unprecedented offer. We would like to establish a permanent joint operation, not just an embassy, but a combined fleet, research division, and cultural exchange program." Marcus smiled. "A true bridge between our civilizations. The first of many," Shreth agreed. "After all, there are countless stars yet to explore, and mysteries that neither of us could solve alone." As they looked out at the star-filled void, Marcus realized that humanity's next bold step hadn't been just about making first contact or joining the galactic community. It had been about proving that different species could overcome their fears and prejudices to create something greater than themselves. The true journey was just beginning.